Think we're ready, Jackson.
Ready to rock and roll?
I think we're ready.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 255
Holy shit.
of boogLIFE, pitted with Action and Manny V. I'm Steve Action Jackson, Manny Vargas sitting next to me, and we've got a lot to get into, some really exciting stuff. So let's get to it, brother.
All right. Yes, it is Taco Tuesday. So sorry about postponing till today. It's either going to be Monday or Tuesday, and I'm heading off to Costa Rica on Thursday. So we're going to still do this. You're going to come in remote. I'll be coming in from remote, but I am ready to rock. Arica was epic.
First and foremost, before we get into our Arica recap, shout outs. My shout out this week goes to Sammy Moratino. Sammy went to South America for the events in Chile, and he was traveling by himself. You know, he was focused, he was determined, and after all is said and done, he is currently sitting third in the rankings in drop knee, and he's 11th in the men's.
Oh, wow.
You know, he had a solid outing in the men's at Arica. For those of you who haven't been watching or haven't watched the highlights, the round of 8 man-on-man was massive. It was heavy. He took a few sets on the head that he was calling solid 15-foot Hawaiian. The rescue ski had to swoop in and scoop him up. And you know what? He made it to his round 8 man-on-man heat. Unfortunately, didn't make it through the quarterfinals, but still a quarterfinals appearance, not too shabby. So Sammy, I'm super stoked for you. Very proud of what you did in Chile. Stay focused, stay determined.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, Sammy was one of those guys. And you know what I loved about Sammy? He was straight up. He says, you know what? The left at Arica scares me. And for him to just put it all on the line and get out there, I mean, put him on the right, he'll go right and big and heavy stuff all day long. But the left, you know, a lot of people have that preference on which way they like to go. Sammy loves the rights, and the left, of course. I mean, we both been to Arica, we both surfed flopos, and that wave is freaking heavy. And so there's no shame to say that. Scares the shit out of me, especially at that size. But yeah, Sammy's a good one. So
I'll say this about the left at Flopos, Tortuga.
Oh, okay.
Turtle Rock, absolutely frightening. You see that coming up on you, it's not a comfortable feeling. Unless you're Guillermo Tamega and you just, throw caution to the wind.
I know, Guillermo Tamega solidified his presence at Arica with doing a roll in front of Tortuga, which is on the other side of the keyhole where nobody goes. It's like no man's land. And if you do end up there, you're going to end up on the rocks and you're going to have to get out. And we saw Joel Rodriguez happen to him. He got pushed up into Tortuga land, and he had to get up on the rocks and get out of there. But yeah, Guillermo is to me, that's the most incredible, craziest maneuver I've ever seen in a contest, where he did a roll in front of the rock, landed, bounced, let go of his board, and went underwater. I don't know how he did not kill himself, but incredible.
For those of you who aren't familiar with Flopos and Arica, it gets referred to at times as a reef break, but it's really a rock bottom break, including that rock shelf you can see on the inside from all the video footage and the photos. Getting slammed at Flopos is like getting body slammed on busted concrete. It doesn't feel good.
No, especially if you have the people's elbow coming right on you too. Hey, what up? Chris and Ricky are down in Nicaragua. Thank you guys for chiming in. But yeah, shout outs. I'm gonna say Tanner. He showed his presence down in Chile. Second place behind Tristan in Antofagasta, and backing it up with another second place in Arica. But from what I heard, I didn't see the live final, but I talked to JG and he's pretty much said, Manny, did you see it? I'm like, no, I was working. But you'll be able to see the highlights. But from what JG mentioned, Tanner put it all on the line.
Yep.
He needed a small score, a Rolo, and he would have been the winner of the event. But from what I hear, ginormous inverse attempt, and did not pull it off. And that's I can't wait to see the replay of that final.
Close, but no cigar, unfortunately, for Tanner. But back-to-back finals appearances. We're going to get into it right about now. We'll get into our bodyboarding news this week. Obviously, the big news, the Arica Cultura bodyboard event at Flopos in northern Chile. And I know the word gets overused, but in this case it applies. Absolutely epic conditions, performances. I mean, super heavy waves. I mean, the one day they had called a lay day, it was so massive that big tanker ship that's always in the background there disappeared from view. Like I said, Sammy Martino was calling it solid 15-foot Hawaiian. For us laymen like me from the East Coast, that's a 30-foot face. That's absolutely heavy, especially when you consider, like we said, it's breaking over busted rock. So, you know, you get caught in the wrong spot or caught in the inside, it's not only dangerous, it can be deadly. As a matter of fact, yesterday morning when they went down and made the call to run the round of 8, there were actually 2 dead seals washed up. They got mangled on the rocks.
Oh my God.
You know, imagine rocking up for competition for the day and you're seeing dead wildlife. That's how heavy it was. The sets were closing out that entire area. That's Isla Alacron and El Bui as well, which is the big wave break on the outside. Just unbelievable. And these guys were true warriors battling it out in heavy conditions every single day of this event.
Yeah, and there was a ton of 10-point rides thrown down. I only saw the one from Maxime Castillo, a backdoor, huge right, deep barrel section that he came out super clean. That's the only one that I've seen live.
Maxime's first ever 10-point ride on the world tour.
Perfect.
He was amping.
Yeah.
And then the other 10-point ride in round 8 that we saw was Tanner McDaniel, huge air reverse, super clean, lands, throws right into a forward spin in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know, that was 10-point ride number 2 in that round. And then the third, Maz, 2-time world champ, 2-time Arica champ, Amaury Laverne, putting on a masterclass. Barrel to pocket spin to second barrel section, came out clean. Truly freaking epic.
I mean, just watching these last 2 events at Antofagasta was amazing. It was heavy, it was big. Then going straight into Arica's heavy shelf. And people getting caught up in Tortuga, struggling in the keyhole. It's it reminded me of the old events where it was big no matter through the entire event, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, you mentioned Antofagasta, 11 days of competition. It pumped every day, and then this event, you know, to the point that it was so massive at its peak. They actually had to call a lay day because it was going to be too dangerous to run heats.
And I know for a fact, it's not the organizers making that call. The actual Chilean Navy staff come down and take a look and make sure, because they don't want to be the ones that have that incident on their hands if something were to go wrong. So they have their say, and most likely it was the Navy saying, no way. We're not going live. You guys aren't having the event that day, which was kind of smart because, you know, like you said, seals could barely handle that massive swell that rolled through.
And I have to correct myself. I said round 8 is where we saw 3 perfect 10s, but it was actually round 7. Yesterday they ran round 8, and it was so big, so heavy that really we only saw 2 or 3 9-point rides. And we were talking about Sammy Martino getting whomped on a little bit during his heat. One of the heaviest moments of the contest came yesterday. Sasa Damianic from Chile took a few on the head, absolutely frightening. He was talking about it on air in his interview with Begonia Martinez. And he said, the first wave, he just barely got through, but it pulled him back towards the impact zone. And then he caught one of the worst beatings of his entire life on the inside, to the point that the medics were at the edge of the beach. The jet ski, the rescue ski swooped in to get him. And they were saying that he was rather disoriented when they first got him back. Fortunately, they didn't need the stretcher. He caught his breath, he regained his focus, and he managed to win the heat and, advance on. But heavy situation. We talk about how Arica is one of the most consistent waves of the world, consistently big, consistently heavy, but dangerous is a word that has to be included as well.
Yeah, and Sasha was on fire too. The heats that I did see him in, he was not holding back at all, going big as far as getting the bigger waves, going for the big moves, for the big lip sections, and pulling in some big barrels. And to hear that he got pounded and just got completely thrashed is no surprise, because he was going big.
So fortunately, all of the competitors are well, no serious injuries, a couple of close calls, but any wipeout, any thrashing you can walk away from, it's all good. And now we get into the business end of our recap. Congratulations go out to Pierre-Louis Costas from France. He walked away the winner of this event. He is now a 3-time Arica champion, the most in the 18 years that this event has run. We have several 2-time winners, including Amaury Laverne, Jeff Hubbard, and others. But Pierre claiming event title number 3, solid performance. I mean, he stated that at the beginning of this event, he didn't feel in sync. He, wasn't in the zone. But as he got further through the field of competition, he really dialed in, and, he's bringing home the hardware as a result.
Yeah, I mean, if things just fell into place for PLC, and again, it was Tanner McDaniel that was the one that could take that win away from him, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, this is actually a 3rd time that they've gone head-to-head at Arica. Tanner has 1 win. Now Pierre has the advantage with 2 wins to his name. And talking about Tanner McDaniel, this is his 2nd straight final in the first 2 men's events on the World Tour, which now puts him just ahead of defending 2-time world champion Tristan Roberts in the rankings for the Men's World Tour. And we talk about this almost on a weekly basis now that we're getting into the World Tour. We're most likely seeing the start of a pattern. We're going to see Tristan and Tanner battling it out back and forth all season long until one of them comes out on top with the world title.
You also, since you're talking about numbers, we did have a little chat before they're drinking something in the water in France.
Must be some good wine over there or something, because today was the first time in World Tour history that 3 Frenchmen made the podium in the same event. Pierre won, then you had Maz and Maxime Castillo rounding out the Frenchmen, and a little icing on the cake for the French contingent. Right now, in the top 6, there's 4 French riders. So France making their presence felt. Currently, since we're talking about the current rankings, Tanner obviously moving into the lead, Tristan dropping down to second, PLC moving into the third position with his win, and then currently fourth, Amaury Laverne, and rounding out the batch, Amaury is fifth currently, rather. Rounding it out for the Frenchman, Ethan Capdeville, the son of Nicolas Capdeville. So what I like to refer to as a legacy rider. He's a next generation rider. And you know what? A chip off the old block, if not better, dare I say.
Oh, damn. I'm sure Dad would be okay with that. Nicolas Capdeville made his presence known on the bodyboarding circuit back in the 90s. And yeah, he's definitely an icon in France. And here's his son showing face right now on the world tour. So that's pretty cool to see that unfold. Generational trophy, as we say, would be passed on, and see, hopefully, man, this is just the start for young Ethan.
Yeah, so you know what? There's a lot to be really excited about so far on the 2023 IBC World Tour. And I've been loving following along. I have no qualms about getting up early in the morning, you know, with the time difference to watch the live webcast. You know, Begonia Martinez holding it down. We've seen bodyboarding legend from Brazil, Fabio Aquino. We've seen Lucas Costa, which is fairly fairly new to the commentary game. And this last event, seeing Dion Meyer, Mumbles, you know, on the live webcast and doing beach interviews. Just, I love the level as it's being raised for the commentary. So everything, the waves, the competitors, the commentary crew, you know, I can't say enough, you know, kudos to everybody involved.
Yes, and I'll back you up too with everybody, but especially for me, seeing Dion in the booth and that energy that he brought was amazing. So thank you, Dion. Mumbles, great job along with the rest of the crew. But it was pretty exciting to get excited with Mumble in some of those situations.
Now, next up on the IBC World Tour, they're wasting no time. The next event, a men's event, starts on Friday and runs through June 18th, the Itaquachara Pro in Brazil. Absolute paradise there. It's actually a nature reserve, and it's one of my favorite places on earth.
It is definitely somewhere where I wanted to move to. When I first went there, it's a little gated community in this beautiful cove with a giant rock, costal is what they call it on this side, and you got another ridge on the other side. It's just very magical. I keep saying I want to organize a tour there for during the event because it is that awesome. So maybe 2024, who knows?
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to go there, I highly recommend it. Not only are there 4 different breaks you can ride at Itaquachara, you've got nature trails. You can walk up the road and go hit up a bowl of acai or pastels. Like, the food in Brazil is incredible. So, you know, it's an experience you will not regret.
Puro Suco is the joint right up the road a couple blocks, and that's where everybody hangs out with pastries, amazing pastries, and yeah, acai bowls and shakes, and amazing. And yes, the women are beautiful. It goes with the territory. Beautiful waves, beautiful women, beautiful natural environment. So yeah, maybe 2024.
You never know.
You never know. All right, so Jackson, we talked about it. The world titles will be, if it comes down to the very end of the last event for each one of these divisions, we're going to see the men's and the junior men's.
Men's and junior men's will finish in the final event of the year at Fronton in the Canary Islands, Gran Canaria to be more precise. Some other interesting things. The Lasalle Pro in France will crown the Pro Junior Women's Division.
I'm an American citizen. I'm going for the American riders. And with that, the pro junior women, we may be seeing the first ever US born Native Hawaiian first female world champion be crowned if everything goes right. Only thing I think she has to do is make sure she comes out ahead of Luna Hardman and the young Peruvian
Saavedra.
Oh, Saavedra.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's all she has. I say that's all she has to do, but yeah, it's still going to be a tough feat, and it's going to be interesting. We did have a little chat. You can check the interview for our boogLIFE patrons, but we did have a chat with Arica, and she talks about that how she's starting to train. She's like fully focused, and she does want to bring home the title not only to the U.S. but to her native land of Hawaii. So that's going to be very exciting.
And then to continue on, the women's world title, if it comes down to that point, will be determined at the last event in Morocco.
What I would do to get to, I know we talked about it, but Morocco is definitely on the top.
Here, seriously, cut off my pinky finger. Send me there.
So yeah, Morocco is going to be absolutely amazing to watch, and yeah, it'll be cool to see how that goes down for the women pro category.
And for the drop knee, this year there's multiple drop knee events, but as has been tradition for many years now, the drop knee world champion will be determined at Sintra in Portugal.
That's going to be awesome to watch, and we know Sammy and Dub are going to be going head to head, but it's nice to see some of the new names. Manuel Cepeda from Chile, and I think Araya Talana also would like to get back into another drop knee event. She had a great time competing in Antofagasta in the drop knee division, and she's got the skills, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
I'm not a drop knee rider, but I'm all about seeing more drop knee.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's men's, women's, juniors, just drop the knee, throw the tail, bury the rail.
The drop knee events we saw one at Antofagasta.
Yep. We also have drop knee events. Besides the season finale at Sintra, we also have the Garden Island Boogie Classic. The drop knee is sanctioned for the World Tour. And for me, what is, even though it's a fairly new event, one of the marquee events on the World Tour, the Maldives Pro.
Oh, they did a great job of putting together an incredible tour schedule this year. I mean, the Maldives, Morocco, and everything else we're so used to seeing. But man, we need to figure out how to get back on tour.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's going to be fun to watch every single division. And yeah, so there you have it. Make sure you watch the drop kneers, watch all three events, and make sure you watch the Sintra Pro to see who will be crowned there. The men and pro junior, the Canary Islands, and the female pro junior will be in La Salle. And for the women, yeah, Morocco.
All right. And to tie up our recap of Arica with a nice little bow, our video of the week, I'm not going to give you one specific video. Manny may pull up one of his liking, but do yourself a favor. Watch every single end of day highlights reel from this year's Arica bodyboard culture, Arica Cultura bodyboard. I keep wanting to call it the Arica Chilean Challenge.
I know,
because that was the name up until 2018.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch the highlight reels. You'll be amping. I guarantee they do not disappoint.
Yeah, looks like they have the highlight reels up to day 4, 6, and 7 have yet to be made, but yeah. So the entire final day live stream, 7. I don't know how long it is, but it's already got 38,000 views. Go back, watch the final. I'm going to be doing the same thing just to see what went down in that heat with PLC and Tanner.
Yeah, killer waves, exceptional performances. Definitely taking a look at if you weren't following along and haven't seen the highlights already.
Yeah. So yeah, there you have it.
All right, and that brings us to our weekly motivation. This week's quote comes from Irish poet and playwright Oscar Wilde and goes merely like this: to live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That is all.
Well, we're living. Hope you guys are too.
All right. See you guys next week. Again, we'll be going remote because Manny will be down in Costa Rica, but I'll be cruising San Diego zones. So we'll see you guys for episode 256 next week. Until then.